Well, howdy. Again, good morning. It's kind of late morning here. Anyway, yeah, I find myself in this winter, a guy who's normally really busy outside and doing stuff with tractors and working in the yard and such, relegated to working indoors. Hence, I decided to do this little project. This is day 4. Okay. And in the instruction book, I've made it up through instruction 7, and that's the completion of the tower. Now I get to start building the shuttle. But I have to hurry. Why? Well, I got my new drone, which there will be a whole video about that, including the unboxing. But before I can unbox, I gotta finish this thing. And oh my gosh, who knows when I'm ever going to get all this video edited. By the time you see this, I will have put way too much time into it. Shooting with 2 cameras in 4K for the amount of time this is taking is the largest project I've done by, total volume of bytes, if you will. At some point, I'll give you the total stats on it. But nevertheless, this intro is way too long because I got to jump into step 8. Time to build the shuttle. Okay, well, here we go. Tower is apparently done. Set this guy aside and hopefully out of that shot. And we start into step 8. Which appears to be the building of the shuttle, starting with the external tank. Okay, let's get chopping and stuff. Because I got to get this thing done. And I feel the same way about finishing this edit. Just got to get this thing done. So yeah, here we go. We're starting to put the initial parts of the space shuttle. That's the external fuel tank that we're starting with there. Yeah, so I've got a lot of parts to get. In fact, I neglected to get the 9 parts that go around the base of it first. I only got 2 of them out, but yeah, figured it out and got busy putting all those parts together, as you can see. Yep, looks like that. There goes page 30. All right, now, I think this is the second time in this entire project I tried to just make the parts kind of appear magically by doing a bunch of extensive cuts. Anyway, here we go. Now we're assembling the sides, the structure of the external fuel tank, and I don't know. Maybe speeding this up 10 times wasn't enough. Oh, golly. Anyway, yeah, there's, a lot going on, even in these relatively simple parts. Okay, there's that part, and gonna be building some more stuff onto that. E21. Ooh, yeah, it's this cool scored part that's gonna wrap around. Isn't that cool? Whee! I've seen guys do stuff like this, like with table saws and trying to get, form work or something to curve around something. So they put a lot of slots in it with a table saw. This is much smaller material than that, right? So working their way up the external fuel tank, we'll get to the point where that very nicely, there it is, that scored piece gets to be wrapped all the way around. That's the first time I've ever touched a part like that. It was kind of cool. So yeah, I went on and on about that. So yeah, here we go. We're getting ready to put the nose cone on. Okay, thus endeth page 31. Page 32. And after getting the parts out for page 32, we're building the basically the frame for the nose cone of the external fuel tank. And after all those support pieces go on, it'll be, it was kind of interesting how they designed it to have a compression ring that went around the base of it, and then a little piece that held the compression ring in place. Okay, here's the top of that. A, finally I get to take something off the A card. Look at that, A1 times 8. So I stand corrected. I was building the frame for the nose cone. Now the A card parts are the ones that are pretty much the external look for the shuttle and the orbiter. Well, a lot of it. In any case, now we're finally putting on those pieces that the compression ring goes on. And there it went. And the cherry on top. There you go, guys. How about an external fuel tank? Sweet. And now, a solid rocket booster, it looks like. I'm going to break for lunch. Okay, just after lunch, but before volleyball, so let's hurry. So continuing on, as I made a comment somewhere in the context of this, I was pretty amazed that going through a whole pile of layers of different shaped flat pieces, we're able to emulate a round solid rocket booster. And I don't know when I comment on it. Maybe it comes up here. Okay, what goes onto that? A few more pieces. And you know, some of the support pieces didn't seem to quite hold the longer pieces in place very well. So I was glad that they had those 6 semicircular parts to kind of hold the whole thing together. I think I got me a finished solid rocket booster. Cool. And I'll do the next one later this afternoon. Okay, picking up on the next solid rocket booster. Looks like a copy of that page. Yep. Since the page I'm building right now is in fact a complete duplicate of the first page, I really considered cutting this section out, but you know, I do tend to be rather full disclosure on my video stuff, so I'll use time lapse or time speed ramps like this to make sure everything is seen. Okay. Well, everything is seen except for the cutting out the parts, of getting parts out of their pages that they come on being laser cut. Okay, so yeah, this is wrapping up the second solid rocket booster, and it's yeah, copy of the first one. Okay, and thus endeth page 34. Dudes, I'm getting close to the end of this. Woohoo! Oh, okay. D26. That's this guy. D26. And Z7 and Z8. That would be these guys. Ooh, cool. Really? You know, one of the things that happened during this build is I had, on this page, I had jumped ahead to getting plastic parts out that weren't needed yet because I hadn't done the left side of the top. Those are starting the, okay, so interestingly enough, we're starting the space shuttle after the completion of the solid rocket, or the external fuel tank and solid rocket boosters. I can't speak. So yeah, here I'm putting the solid rocket boosters on. Cool. Set that aside. And now is the beginning of the shuttle assembly. And the first thing I do is I misplace a part. Oh boy. Grr. Stop the cameras for a moment. And found it. Somehow it had managed to get down there and hit the floor without making a discernible sound. And it is keyed. Ah, well now that's interesting. I hadn't noticed that before, which is why it wouldn't stay on. Okay. So there's that piece. End of page 35. Now we're going on to page 36. Oh, is that what that's going to do? Oh, that's outstanding. Okay. This is another, I look at B1 here, and I look at how it's going to be applied up there, but it's going to wrap around. It's going to be the top. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I was getting pretty excited about putting on the next scored piece that wraps around and becomes the top of the shuttle bay doors, as it were. And yeah, I'm building up the supports from that main frame of the shuttle body to get ready to hold that piece on top. And let's do a detail and show you that. Oh, that's just outrageous. I'm loving it. Okay, and now applied the logo. Okay. So after putting the decal on the left wing, now I'm putting the wing assemblies on, and for some reason, the nice shuttle bay doors piece is popping loose every now and again. So I think I made several comments about stop coming loose, and then I continued on putting on the next pieces, which you're seeing right now. Okay. In a few seconds, you'll see a freeze frame I did holding up that bottom shuttle piece. The reason is that it's painted, it's black on one side, and it's white on the other. And I'm looking at it like I'm holding it up right there. And the tiles on the shuttle were black. I mean, that was the way it was originally actually designed. And I just really couldn't believe that they wanted it not that way. But the picture in the book shows that the artwork is supposed to be up. So that's what I ended up doing. Well, I guess it goes up according to some other pictures that I saw. But I I guess it doesn't have to make sense to me. It just has to fit together, right? And fit it together I did. All right. Thus endeth page 36. Almost there, guys. Yep, we're getting really close to being done. A little bit of an adventure coming up in a few moments, but here's the assembly of the aft section, getting back towards where the engines and some of the thrusters are. And you'll find out here in just a moment that sadly, I used a little too much pressure on one of the little assemblies, the stacks of pieces of wood that become the nozzles. Okay, well, I didn't quite get that first one down far enough, so let's go back and try that again. That was an error. It was down far enough. Okay. And then a B9 goes at the end. Ah, criminy. I broke it. Criminy, criminy, criminy. Is there a spare? Is there a spare B20? Please tell me there's a spare B20. There's a spare B20. Okay, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take my dinner break. So where we left off last time is I managed to break this piece. The B20 that these were supposed to all be stacked on. And don't want to drop any more pieces. Fortunately, there was a spare B20 for ham-fisted people like me who push too hard and break the pieces. Goodbye, B20. All right, so that means back to this. To build this up correctly, I put the B10 littlest one all the way back here. On that slot. And push it all the way into place. Now, there is a little bit of a gap, and that's my mistake. I tried to push too hard to make that go away and put a little too much sideways pressure on it, and it broke. Okay, there, that's my first one. And let's build this one. So another quick side note, those nozzles are made up of 6 parts, 5 or 6 parts, that are all listed as part B10 in the guide, and they go onto a part called B20, the one that I had broken. It appears to go right here in the middle. Vertical stabilizer. All right. And that's the end of page 37. We go to page 38. Okay, guys. Oh, it looks like 38's the last build page. Yeah, I'm getting anxious to get this done, man. Okay, so those are the last 2 pieces that go up on the vertical stabilizer. Okay, those look aligned correctly. And then pretty much there's 2 more pieces of kind of around the orbital maneuvering thruster system, and then 2 screws that hold the wingtips together, just making sure they're not over tightened. Ladies and gentlemen, the orbiter is now done. Okay, so now it looks like it's assembly time. Now, with the orbiter's assembly finished, it's time to mate it up to the external fuel tank and solid rocket booster assembly, just like in real life. Ha! Okay, so that looks like that picture right there, folks. Okay. Next page. Okay, so in order to attach this, I have to power up this unit to get it to where it's fully extended and ready to accept the shuttle. Get my trusty spare power supply here. Okay, so according to this, I'm supposed to hit the start gizmo, let this come fully out, and then I can take two C1 pins to lock the shuttle in. Okay. Power on. Start button. Okay, so this is only a 2x speed up. I just wanted to leave all this stuff in instead of making it 10 times. Okay. And now parts C1. Look at all these things I've been through. Wow. Okay, C1. Happen to have 3 of these. Hopefully, just need 2. So the idea here is I had to put it in the open position in order to attach the shuttle assembly to the arm, and needed to have some space to put those the 2 locking pins in. It would appear adjust to the right angle to fix and assemble the aircraft. Okay, so now I have to align with those big holes there. Like that. And you may have just seen that the tower just cycled power, and I think there's another spot in here where it loses power. So glad I didn't have to use a lot of force for that. But I'm going to mention in just a moment that although the instructions say all I had to do was hit the start button to... too soon. Yep, see, there it went. I actually have to run it through the cycle again by hitting the initial start button, which will try to open it, and then I hit it again to close it. And that's what you're about to see at the very end here. There we go. Okay, guys. And touch start switch once to reset. Here we go. Power is off. Why is the power off? Actually, the reason it's losing power is the cable's kind of funky. When I have it hooked up to one of my USB power supply, that's plugged into AC, it works flawlessly. Hey, you're watching it first time, just like I am. Okay, let's see. I guess I'm going to dim some of the lights. See how the cameras deal with that. Oh, let's stop. Okay, oh, I don't know why it does that. Okay, that was the switch off. That's switch on. And start. Notice on my camera, my phone, the red recording button wasn't pressed, so I wasn't recording anything. Back up into position. Oh, sigh. There you go. ROKR Space Shuttle Launch Base. Okay, there you go.